Hey everyone! Today, I came to answer the question, can a Pokémon Noob beat Pokérogue, the game that has been exploding throughout Pokémon YouTubers? Let me clarify again. This is a game that is popular among Pokémon players. I am not a Pokémon player, but I do know some things about it. So without further ado, let's just get started. So I decided to pick the starters Fuecoco, Bulbasaur, and Froakie. Fuecoco because I've seen some big YouTubers use it and Torch Song sounds really good. Bulbasaur because of status effects and things like Stun Seed. And for Froakie because Greninja. I thought that would be useful. So my game plan basically is to just train up Fuecoco until it evolves so we can try and beat everything with just Fuecoco. I also decided to catch a random Centret for no reason just to add to the starters. I also decided to catch a random Bidoof to add to the starters. It escaped once but then I eventually caught it. Then I found the craziest thing, Multi-Lens, which apparently attacks hit one additional time at the cost of a 60 or 75 or 82.5% power reduction per stack respectively. Now, being a Pokemon noob, I have no idea what that means, but it being a Master Ball, I knew it was rare, so I put it in my Fuecoco immediately. Then I thought to myself, wow, I got a super rare item. That must mean I must win this round, right? Afterwards, I faced the first trainer, Last Nancy. It wasn't really that bad, and at this fight, I got to learn what the Multi-Lens does. It actually makes you attack twice sometimes. I think, well, I'm a Pokemon noob, so I don't really know, but that is what I have observed. And I thought that was amazing, so I just pushed on and kept on fighting. I also got the move Round P, which I've never really used or seen before, and it looks like a water type move. Because it bubbles, but I wasn't really sure, so I just used Tackle after that. Then, at 8th floor, we have our first rival Ivy fight. And to be honest with you, this one went kinda fine, kinda not at the same time. So, first, it was a good sign that it was Bulbasaur because we have Fuecoco to fully counter her starter. Now, here's where I did a little bit of an oopsie though. So, my Fuecoco was at a pretty low health, so I decided to switch Pokemon. What Pokemon did I switch to? Well, I switched to a Bidoof, so that I can just tank and it'll be fine. It fainted. So I switched into a Bulbasaur in front of a flying type. And you know what happened after that. Yeah, it went to low health. If you don't believe I was a Pokemon noob, that would probably seal the cake. So I got pretty lucky with the round 10 boss because it was a Metapod, and of course my Fuecoco is a fire type, which can easily counter its bug type. Also, big bonus, the Multi-Lens actually makes it hit twice, so the Metapod dies in one turn because it hits twice and defeats all of its health bars. After that, my Pokemons were healed and we went into the next region, and it was the Plains. And this was when things went really terribly, to say the least. I also realized something while fighting this Lechonk. Yes, that was just a tackle from a critical hit. That the move Echoed Voice did a lot of damage. I surely hope that won't kick me in the butt later. I also catch this random Poochyena to also add to the starters and to just have another random Pokemon in my party. But yeah, that Poochyena is at a very low health. Then, as I was picking an item here, I decided to grab the lure. And as soon as I grabbed the lure, I encountered a double battle, which went poor to say the least. So I decided to keep in my remaining Pokemon, but Froakie is a very low level because I kept training my Fuecoco. So I used Water Gun to try and gang up on Lechonk, but Froakie's accuracy fell. We hit Lechonk twice, it used Disarming Voice, which also did a fair amount of damage, but Lechonk was still alive. So I decided to use Ember on Lechonk and pound the Zigzagoon. It is Covet, which used a lot of damage. Actually, I used Ember on Zigzagoon, whoops. And then, of course, Lechonk killed my Fuecoco using Echoed Voice. So I decided to switch to a Bulbasaur, use Vine Whip on Lechonk, and pound on Zigzagoon. But of course, Covet was really strong and pulled Bulbasaur all the way to low HP again. But after that, we just destroyed the Zigzagoon and everything went fine after that. Of course, after the battle, I decided to do the only logical thing there, and it was to revive my Fuecoco. Now, I debated on using Double Team, but Fuecoco couldn't learn it, so I just didn't bother, and I think it was pretty cheap and luck-based, so I just grabbed the potion and healed Fuecoco instead. And I encounter a Poochyena, and I decided to switch to my Fuecoco, and usually I would skip this, but I think it's pretty important to mention, and it'll increase my length, because you'll see later. Yeah, it rose an attack, which is pretty scary, but I just used Ember, and I killed it with a critical hit. And Fuecoco leveled up, and he learned Bite, which, yeah, that was the thing I was talking about. That was kind of worth to mention. It probably isn't, because you'll see later, but yeah, that happened. And then finally, say hello to this Lickitung in particular. This guy knows rest, and I had no good moves to actually, put him down at a low level. And also, he paralyzed my Fuecoco, and this will be very important because I wouldn't get any healing for paralyzation later. And I tried to catch him. Yeah, I was trying to catch him to add him to my starter and stuff, but after that after I realized he had rest, I just wanted him to get out. I just wanted to kill him as fast as possible, so I just did everything I can. I switched to Froakie because Fuecoco was paralyzed. I tried to do everything. I used Quick Attack for some quick damage. It didn't do much, and Froakie goes down, and I was a real panic. So I switched to Bidoof, thinking he can do something. It did a lot of damage since it was just level 6, but he used Rest again, and I used Tackle. That was when I got lucky with a critical hit, but then I started using Growl just to put his attack down because Defense Curl was not going to do anything because this Bidoof will do nothing to this Lickitung. So I just kept pressing Growl and Growl and Growl until he was weak. I didn't use it all the way up though. He used Rest again, which is really annoying, but it's inevitable. So I checked there, I kept using Growl until it was -4. Then I started attacking it, just before this Bidoof dies. It also used Defense Curl, which was really annoying. Now it's gonna take longer to kill. So Bidoof goes down, and I switched to Bulbasaur, which had a... No, Sandshrew. Why did that... You know what? Whatever. He did that, I was just scratching him. I just did as much damage as I could. I got a critical hit, which is pretty lucky, but you'll see that it's really bad. So I switched to Poochyena, used Tackle, but he's too slow. Then I switched to Bulbasaur, I used Vine Whip, which almost killed it, but it also killed my Bulbasaur in return, and now my only Pokemon was Fuecoco with Paralyze, and it rested. So this was really bad because, as you can see, Lickitung didn't take any damage from that Ember, and I was slower now because Paralyzation, and I was already damaged. But it was good because Lickitung was asleep, but then I made a humongous blunder, and I used Tackle, which didn't even finish him off, so I had to take a little bit of damage and then use Ember just to be safe. So instead of reviving here, by the way, I used a rare candy on my Fuecoco, thinking it was gonna be fine. Warning, it was not fine. And then we faced this Lechonk. It had Tackle, it tackled me, paralyzed me, and then it used Echoed Voice, which did a lot of damage. And I was slower. This was when I realized that was the end. So to answer the question, can a Pokemon Noob beat Pokérogue? Yes! If the rounds ended at round
16.
Subscribe!